Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's event workshop. And Devant host. If you are based in Canada, good evening to you. If you are joining from different part of the world, depending where you are from, I will say good morning, good afternoon. We are going to start our webinar briefly. We currently have quite a bit of participants, and they are all joining. Today, we're going to talk about recruiters' expectations and hiring trends. I've seen a few people have raised a hand. I would encourage you to perhaps say hi to people in the chat. It's an opportunity for you to also network with other people, tell who you are, where you're calling from, anything that you would like to share. All right, we're starting our webinar. I would like to briefly introduce myself and the Devant team. I am joining from Devant. My name is Laisha. I am Associate Director of Client Success and Strategic Initiatives. We are joining with our career coach, Emma Martini, today, and we're going to talk about everything that you want to know in terms of recruiters' expectations. Before that, I would like to also briefly mention today's is webinar format session. All of you will be muted. There's no need for video opening. We will be recording the session. As a matter of fact, it's actually recording, and you're able to receive the recording in our follow-up email once you have registered for the events. If you have any questions, please put your questions in the Q&A function. We are able to go through your questions one by one if you only put them in the Q&A function. We are not able to go through your questions if you put them in the chat. Chat is mainly for you to say hi to other audience and be able to network with each other. We also want to bring to your attention that Devant hosts workshops on regular basis. So please go to our website, devant.ca, and check out what events or what conferences that we host virtually that you might be interested in to join and participate. All right. Before I go further down, I would like to warm up with everyone to perhaps do a quick poll. We're still waiting for more people to join for today's webinar. Given the fact that our webinar topic is about understanding employers' expectations and understanding hiring trends, I would like to invite everyone to briefly mention what are the challenges that you have currently or you have previously faced during hiring processes. Is it getting interviews or understanding the AI ATS screening system that majority of employers use nowadays? Or how can you be more standing out among the competitive landscape that we're currently facing? I would like to know everyone's input in terms of what sort of challenges that you have been facing. But I'm seeing there are quite a bit of people have already input their answer that I'm seeing. Seems like getting interviews to be the top challenges. All right, I'll give you more seconds. Please put your input into the prompt. I would like to know more about what challenges that you guys are specifically facing in the hiring process. All right, what I'm seeing, the result has shown that seems like 54% of the audience have mentioned getting interviews tend to be the most challenging aspect in terms of applying for jobs or getting hired. I'm going to end the poll now, and if you have any additional insight you'd like to share, please feel free to put them in the chat. So the result that you're seeing on the screen. Thank you so much for joining this quick warm-up activities with us while waiting for more people to join our webinar. We're going to get started on our today's topic. Before that, I would like to also briefly introduce Devant. You might have joined our webinar before. You have used our services. If you're new to our events and our community, welcome. Devant is here to support everyone that we can possibly to get their ideal job as quickly as possible. How do we do it? We are here to support you with our platform that has everything in one place and you can access 24/7. What does it include in our service scope? We offer AI-powered career development tools that you can use to build your resume that is applicant tracking system safe and receive instant feedback. You can also receive guidance on writing your cover letter, optimize your LinkedIn profile. Most importantly, if you're someone who's shy in front of camera, you need more practice on your interview skills. You're able to use our services, our tool to practice on interview skills and receive instant feedback. We also offer video-based career training from our career coaches. You are able to receive certification based on the resources offered on our platform in terms of career growth, job search strategy, networking, and professional success. Last, we also have human component in our services. Just like today, you're able to connect with Devant team, like myself and our career coach, Emma. You're also able to network with other professionals and recruiters we invite to our events on a weekly basis or through our virtual career fair. So that is everything about Devon and what we offer. All right, so now I'm going to invite Emma to our audience, is our today's guest speaker. She is not only our career coach, but also industry specialist at Humber Polytechnic and Employer Connectors, Relationship and Talent Strategist. Emma, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Yes, my name is Emma. I have been in a career advising or business development position over the last like 5 to 6 years now. I've been in the not-for-profit sector. I've worked for Employment Ontario, tech bootcamp company, and currently now at Humber Polytechnic in Toronto, working with employers and to bring them in and hire Humber students. So I frequently work with employers and also get that student lens as well. So I'm really excited to share more of my insight here today. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Emma. All right, so we're now officially starting our webinar content, and I would like to briefly cover what two specific aspects that we're going to dive deeper into in today's webinar session. First, we're going to really understand recruiters' mind, such as what AI tools that they're expecting the candidates to be aware of and have the skill set in. What are the in-demand skills that we're currently seeing in the market, and how you can stand out in terms of the competitive landscape. And we're also going to cover some aspect in terms of how you can communicate with recruiters more efficiently in the current AI-driven market. So this will be the two main areas that we're going to cover for today's webinar. We're starting with understanding recruiters' mindset. Perhaps, Emma, we can start with the first question is what AI tools are employers using in the hiring process?
I feel like this is a great first question to kick us off because I think there are a lot of myths and misconceptions when it comes to this. I know there's a graph later on that kind of shows how frequently AI is actually being used in the hiring process. But one of the first ways that Leisha mentioned earlier on is in the applicant tracking systems to filter resume based on keywords. We've known this for years. I would say the bottom line is whether a recruiter is reading it with their own two eyes or using a computer screening program. You definitely still want to be using those keywords. It's all the more important now. And just to clarify, those keywords are the words that are on the job description. You don't need to use synonyms. You can use the exact words on the job description. And that will be a great way to kind of not get around, but to kind of increase your chances with potentially the ATS system or even the recruiter's own two eyes. So these AI assisted resume screening tools identify alignment and relevance. The more keywords you use, the more relevant your resume will seem and more aligned it'll be for the job posting in general. Another way that we're very frequently seeing AI being used is just simply in chatbots, which if you've ever gone on to, I don't know, a website, the little chatbot pops up, how can I help you? That is definitely a way either through like automation tools for sending out emails or chatbots in general to keep communication with the applicant. So those automatic emails to move forward to the video recording or the automatic rejection emails, unfortunately, some of those are also automated as well. So those are kind of the four ways that we're seeing AI being used. I would also say, like in the interview process, in video recorded interviews, like you might get like an avatar or something that you'll respond to. Like in a video interview instead of like a real person on the other end. So there's different little ways, but I'd say the most common is definitely through the resume screening tool. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for the insight. I will be going through some of the questions in a bit, but we can certainly go through the next questions that I prepared. Is more in terms of like understanding your strengths and how you can stay competitive in the age of AI. Previously, all you can talk about is how you can stay competitive among other candidates in a similar field. Now you are not only competing with other applicants, you're actually also competing with the technology because a lot of jobs are technically being replaced by AI.
Absolutely. And I think that this is definitely one that people are worried about. There are certain types of positions or tasks within different roles that are becoming more automated, like those email responses that I shared, those more like routine tasks, which is great because that leaves more time for that person to do other things and enhance the business. So I would say again, bottom line, I've been preaching this since I have graduated from school, ensuring your resume are keyword aligned and ATS friendly. The only way to stay competitive is you have to get in through the front door or a window or whatever form of access you want to call it. But you must be using those keywords on your resume to get through that initial screening process. And I know it takes time. I've also applied for jobs. I know it's tedious. I've edited 100 like thousands of resumes. Honestly, it's just the way that you will be able to stay competitive because for every person who's doing that, there's so many people who are not. Um, I would say something that I have gotten complimented on even by current bosses is being able to use measurable results based accomplishment statements. So I have a couple examples here that I was going to put in the chat as well, just as some examples because I think sometimes people hear results based accomplishment statements and they're like, I don't know how to add numbers into my resume. If you were like a cashier or if like maybe you didn't interact with any people, you're wondering how can I add in numbers? I truly just go line by line throughout each task that I have on my resume. Anytime there's a noun, I add a number in there. Like if you're stocking shelves at a grocery store, how many cans are you stacking? How many people are you helping to check out on average? How many people work with you? Things like that. There's a lot of ways that you can add numbers into your daily tasks. Oh, I don't mean to look at the chat for questions, but the social worker resume popped up. So just think of how many clients, how many, again, like colleagues do you work for? How many, in terms of, I know there's a lot of case notes. If you do a lot of admin in your role, you can think of like how many intake appointments you do in a week. And of course, if you think that maybe the numbers aren't necessarily the most remarkable, maybe you do the frequency in a year. I have 4 intakes a year and just increase the number a little bit more there. But I would say, like line by line, go through all the nouns and see if you can add them in that way. Another way is demonstrate adaptability and digital fluency. So we'll talk about this a little bit more in the coming slides, but moving away from this, like just being literate in digital technologies and becoming more fluent. You can be really fluent on like social media apps and navigating like your phone apps, but there's like another side of using Microsoft Office tools, CRM tools, things like that. And so emphasizing any of those types of office skills or business skills will also give you that competitive edge. And if you're not familiar with these types of tools, getting familiar, even if it's with your own like Google Suite, like your own Gmail account, Google Docs, things like that. There's a lot of overlap in all the systems. So you pick up one, you can kind of say you can pick up the rest. And that
Thank you
same
so
in the
much.
Oh,
Yeah, please go ahead. I was just gonna mention in terms of the result-based
mm,
statement. I personally have changed my LinkedIn profile over the Christmas break when everyone was like resting. I'm like, let me look into my LinkedIn and have really spent time to provide the numbers. And I suddenly received so many requests and messages
hey.
from professionals, and my profile has been prompt and being shared more frequently than before.
And how quick was that to
It,
change
it
it
was.
and add it and then to get the results?
Yeah, it took me like maybe I spent a day
Yeah.
really thought into give you some thought process into it. And in a month I start to receive a lot of professionals sending me requests and inviting me for their webinars, their events as a guest speakers and etc.
Yes, I think that's amazing to hear. I'm not surprised in the slightest because truly, like I've said, like I've heard from like my own hiring managers, like that was something that they remembered even a year later. Like, oh no, Emma's resume had the results. So I think it just makes it easy for them. You're giving them the answers to their questions. They want to know how many things that you've done. And there you are, you're writing the answers easy for them. You're not making it difficult to find. I'm really happy for you and your LinkedIn profile getting getting the attraction that it deserves. Yeah. Okay, we can go to the next question.
Great. So the next is more understanding in terms of the AI relevant skills, because almost in every company, everyone is like AI is such an important thing that it became sort of a. I see it in the future. It will sort of like require skills such as you need to know how to use Gmail or like Microsoft suite, like all the SharePoint, all the basic things. It will be required in the future for you to understand how to use basic AI to optimize your work. So
Mm-hmm.
you can tell a little more in terms of what skills AI relevant that you seeing will be in demand in the future.
Absolutely. So, what I'm hearing a lot from in terms of where it's being implemented the most is more the financial services and concentrated in like computer and mathematical roles, management, and like very much financial operations. Um, so those are sort of like the fields. And then I would say more of those in-demand skills goes deeper than just like ChatGPT, which I think you definitely should be putting on your resume in terms of getting that edge. Like again, mentioning moving away from just AI literacy and showing that you can be fluent in these like more newer, like more of the basic AI tools like ChatGPT or um, Copilot. I almost forgot that one. So being able to put that on your resume, like I would say that's like very important to be adding that in because a lot of teams they want to know how to add it in. And if they have a new person joining their team that has kind of like a basic understanding of these tools, that new person they can see, that new person can showcase to them how they can make the role that they're in more efficient. How can you make this team more efficient? And they're looking for that fresh perspective to add to their team. So I would say like definitely adding those AI tools to your resume can definitely give you a leg up, including prompt writing. And yeah, that's like, those are more of like the basic ones that maybe it's like, I have these groceries in my fridge, like make a grocery, like make some recipes for me that'll last me the week. I would say like even something like that gives you a leg up, putting that you are literate in these tools on your resume. Um, but yeah, sorry, I'm just reading through my notes. I was just gonna say, even like
Anyways,
to even to again to set you apart from some of the other candidates. I was seeing more and more. I worked last year with a company that was like a satellite to Salesforce, and they were saying, we understand that you may not have experience with Salesforce as like a CRM, for those who don't know. And so we don't even need you to have Salesforce experience, but we have Salesforce and Google and Amazon, like AWS tools, Microsoft, they have their own training programs on their websites for free. You can take Google programs, you can take Microsoft training programs, Salesforce. And so they said, even if you don't have work experience in this area, but you've taken a few of our free courses, it's kind of like you come pre-trained on their tools.
Mm-hmm.
And that will give you a leg up. They said, like, tell them, take these free courses. So definitely those are some tools that I would say are in demand, especially if you want to get into more of those bigger companies. And because they're so well known, Google, AWS, Salesforce, again, um, like other companies will recognize them as being something, as an additive
Mm-hmm.
of something that you bring to the table.
Mm-hmm. I want to add a few more things here too,
Please,
because
yeah.
I've been going to a lot of networking events and conferences and summits. Um, just like Emma, you mentioned, like a lot of softwares itself, like Salesforce CRM system or any cloud-based softwares. That's absolutely, if you're in the field of sales, you will want to know the CRM system. If you're in the field of finance, that you will need to know all the financial tools that they use. But in tools as such itself, they already have integrated AI within their tools. So you would want to dive deeper into, do some Google search, or use AI for AI search and get some resource trading for that. For example, Canva, if you're in marketing, Canva itself already have adapted AI integrations into their Canva software itself.
Mm-hmm.
And you may want to understand how you can use the updated version of Canva to create more interactive slides or more storytelling format of campaign and create a portfolio of your own. That will definitely build boost your performance and your profile because you have shown you can use Canva AI to create more resources in a way. And if you're someone who's in digital marketing or you're doing some social media marketing, then maybe show what are the AI tools available for video editing or embedding scripts into your short reels and so on. That will definitely improve the efficiency because so many companies have such a small team and they rely on tools as such or someone who knows how to use such tools to improve the work performance.
I talk about this after because I think that a lot, like right now, we are in such a wonderful position to be in the workforce. And especially if you're starting your career, like you have the energy to bring that initiative to the company and to your team. Like, even if
Mm-hmm.
you are, um, I'm trying to think of, like, even if you are in like a call center position or a customer service position or a retail position, like there's a lot of things that you like, there's ways that you can bring an AI infographic to the table. Like there are things that you can promote um, and get some familiarity with the business in mind.
Of
And I have a story after to share, but I would
course.
say like some of those AI related skills that are increasingly in demand um, is tools that complement pre-existing business skills, sorry, or technical skills. So similar to what Leisha was saying, just like, okay, great, you can use Canva, but can you now use, yeah, those prompts to kind of like um even more like augment whatever you're already making, like just level up what you're already doing. um so
Great.
yes, okay, that's a long one. We were very like
Yes,
there's a few
we're gonna
tools
come to the
there.
next slide. So
Yeah,
yeah, I have more
yeah.
questions coming up. Just a reminder, I'm seeing a lot of chats messages going on. If you have any questions for myself or to Emma, please put the questions into Q&A functions. When we jump into Q&A sections, we're able to go through them one by one. All right, so coming to next, we would like to know more in terms of addition to AI skills, what are the essential business skills that are still very important for you to have on your resume and of course as a professional?
So I would say, just to go off of what we were just talking about, I think initiative is a huge one. Like Canva is like such a perfect example. I did not take a marketing course. I never took any digital anything in school. I'm like a career advisor, So,
Mhm.
but when I first joined my team, I did come from a tech boot camp, so I have like a general interest in different using different tools and trying out different technical skills. Um, but when I first started, I had more time within my day when I was in training to play around with Canva infographics, like trying to make an infographic through ChatGPT. Like honestly, they weren't really pretty, but it was fun to play around with. And now I have a system for when my team needs flyers, needs infographics, needs different marketing materials. and I don't have time to go to the teams that usually produce those. And so I know I have my own templates that I make, but my team knows like, hey, Emma, I need something quick. Do you have a AI tool for this? And over the last so many months, like accidentally, because I've shown this curiosity and like attended the webinars and like played around with different tools, I've accidentally like positioned myself as the person where they ask me when they want to use an AI tool. Like, can I use AI for something like this? What do you think about like these prompts? And like workflow and process and things like that. So I would say like business skills. I guess that's more of a soft skill, but more of like a social emotional skill. Um, but that problem solving, critical thinking to really think outside the box, like does not go unnoticed.
Mhm,
And similar to what we shared before, like this storytelling really goes a long way. Um,
mhm,
like any any talk you sit in on, like stories is what
mhm,
sells. That's what you
mhm,
remember is like those funny, quirky things that people say um,
mhm,
that make it stand out from the regular answers.
mhm. And one
Um,
thing I want to mention,
mhm,
Emma, perhaps is um, but from my experience working with perhaps when I supervising interns or on hiring people, I typically focus on their presentation skills too. That's such a
mm,
core thing when it comes to business skills that includes if you are someone who is able to convert information into a table using softwares, and also are you someone who is able to communicate clearly with information rich insight and create a conclusion that provides a solution for the problem that the company is trying to resolve, that all added into the presentation overall.
mm.
Such essential skills to have and improve on.
Yes, 100%. And that
Yeah.
there, I'm seeing more and more now that come, well, I feel like it's been around for a while, but it's touching on different industries, like having a presentation as part of the interview, which
Yeah.
spooks some people. But if they give you, if they give you a week, it really gives you a chance to shine and work on that
Mm-hmm.
confidence, right? Mm.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I feel like they really cover a lot of different essential skills that when in the hiring process to do like a quick presentation, do some research and show us the result.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
I do just want to add, I did sit in on a webinar recently,
Uh-huh.
and the things that they really emphasized was business skills are just as important in an interview and in a person's experience
Mhm.
as the technical skills, as the AI skills. So I'd say
Mhm.
while you're trying to, brush up on your technical skills, I know especially if you're green, like you're newer to the workforce, getting the confidence and working on those business skills is just as important. So don't skimp out on the presentation side of things. If you're in
Mhm.
more like um, the advice that they gave in this webinar was two directors of uh, one was like an education tech
Mhm.
tool. And so anyway, they were talking about different business skills that were seen as very important. And so like
Mhm.
risk management, process optimization, change management, um, having a strategic lens and thinking strategically. So maybe not necessarily before you enter the workforce. Those skills are hard to develop on your own. It definitely comes with experience. But if you are in more
Mhm.
of that, if you have a few years under your belt, just thinking about workflow automation and digital transformation as well, like some of those types of skills, how to work on
Mhm.
that in the current role that you're in.
Great. Well, after business skills, we kind of circle back and forth with another key skill, which is social and human skills that
Mm.
you just cannot be replaced by AI. And what are those that really for today's audience and anyone who's in the professional growth planning stage would want to tune into it and really rebrand itself that I have all the essential skills, but this is what really differentiate me from the technology.
Yes, absolutely. I think the communication still, the clear communication, the emotional intelligence piece, being able to add to those technical skills and those technical tasks are still important. I will always vouch for the initiative. That is
Mm-hmm.
like a huge one. And just because I've seen it in action. Um, and on that note of initiative is the leadership. So I've also been a manager in my previous role. You're looking, when you're thinking of who to promote or who to recommend for different things, you're thinking of the person that raises their hand, who asks interesting questions, who gets the ball rolling on their
Mm-hmm.
own ideas, like who brings new ideas to the table. Um, when I think of like, yeah, who to recommend for different projects or even for promotions, I'm thinking of the person that always raises their hand to take initiative and comes to the table with new ideas. So I'm not saying like work overtime, like burnout. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like leaning into that creative side when it comes to new ideas and
Mm-hmm.
bringing that leadership into your role.
Mm. I like
So,
what you said about leadership. That's so important.
mhm. So even when we look at the different types of tasks that are becoming, sorry, were you gonna say, sorry, were you gonna jump in? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No worries, no, go ahead, please. No, leadership is important, and I was hoping that you elaborate a little more in terms of other social skills that is important to be noticed as well.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
So, I was just going to say, so the different types of tasks that can be
yeah,
automated, you have your
yeah.
basic routine tasks that those
Mhm,
could be automated in the role. The ones that maybe are not as automated are the ones that AI will augment. So, like I said, for different business, um, like those different business skills, like maybe in your position it can create new slide decks or business
mhm,
plans or
mhm,
different things like that. But the
mhm,
things that will again help you stand out for the social and human skills are the human led tasks. So
mhm,
accountability, judgment as well, working on those types of soft skills
mhm,
as well. um,
mhm,
those can't be replaced. Like your accountability for yourself, taking ownership over your own tasks and owning when you make mistakes, but really like owning your own tasks. So when you're volunteering for different things, wanting to own those as well. Um, and I would also say collaboration, being able to work with others. And when you're wondering about adding results to your resume, I always say, like, how many people were in the group project? So those are still very important skills to be emphasizing. Did you want to add
Yeah,
anything
I
to that?
want. Yeah, I want to add a few more things because like circle back to you said taking initiatives again. As I'm seeing looking back into my career growth and the juniors that I've been supervising and mentoring, I always tell it's important to shift your mindset from being a passive receiver end to proactive person, especially if you're someone who is not um from North America, not really. If you're for foreigners or newcomers into Canada, it is very important for you to shift the mindset of like I bring my value and my expertise into the team. What I'm going to bring can also add insight into the growth of the team and the problem that we're trying to solve. That mindset shift is so important that will give you the confidence that you can speak up when it's needed. And another thing is we kind of touch upon in communication um because in real work you cannot do silo work. You will be always in a team even though you're not client facing. You are working in a team and you have supervisors, your colleagues. You're always facing issues, so how you can communicate professionally and have the communication etiquettes, that is also so important. Sending out emails, and you have to always make sure that you balance your email tone and the length in a really good balanced way. And if needed, maybe a quick call, a conversation will help to avoid unnecessary miscommunications if you're also working or planning to work in a remote environment. So those are the nuances will really make you stand out. And when you're reporting to your supervisor or when you're trying to present something, pay attention to details. And those details, when you're prepared, matters when things happen. Maybe your boss will ask one question or in an interview, then they will be surprised how prepared you are because you already have a backup potential questions that could be asked, and you pay attention to those details. Those kind of things that I've seen from my past experiences will definitely help me to boost my career and also help me to stand out when I'm trying to network with professionals or business owners.
I think that whole email communication hit a little always hits close to home.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever, oh, yeah. My parents always told me when I was growing up, like, oh, you just got to call the person, like, man to man, like, you got to just pick up the phone and call them. I was always like, no, 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 never picking up the phone. When it comes to work, I will always be the first one to say, let's jump on a call just to avoid a potential conflict.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so easy to do. Anyway,
Yeah,
that
communication is
relatable.
essential. Yes, definitely. All right, so now we are coming to the questions. So please put your questions incoming in the Q&A sections. If you have any experiences that you felt resonated with what we're sharing, please put them in the chat so you can also share your stories, what you struggle, what you have seen, or any tips with our audience as well. Now we're coming to the next portion of our today's webinar, which is talking about how you can communicate effectively in the AI-driven market. That kind of tied into what we just concluding a bit in terms of email, having a meeting with people, avoid miscommunications. But that when it comes to technology into place, when you're applying for jobs, maybe that is another area that we can dive deeper into. The first question Emma have prepared for you is more in terms of understanding how AI is changing the way recruiters are communicating with candidates or how they are using AI to find ideal candidates in the
Okay.
process.
We talked about this a little bit at the beginning. So, not to repeat myself, but definitely scanning profiles, scanning resumes is still a way that recruiters are communicating with candidates. But this is what I was talking about at the beginning. Like, it's still not as fully integrated as like the media makes it seem. Like, I even last year I attended a conference and I sat in on a seminar with like a mass hiring recruiter who's been in the business for forever. And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, we try to use different AI tools in different ways, but at the end of the day, they're expensive. So if the company's smaller, they can't necessarily afford it. Um, and not all of them, like if you're looking for a more specialized position, it can't always account for that. So she said last year this LinkedIn article said the same thing. Like I'm still hearing it where companies are still they want to be using it, but it's still not as like fully integrated as we're expecting it to be. um,
Mm-hmm.
Now there are still like laws and best practices that are pushing employers to be more transparent when AI is being used. Like we see it on Instagram, on different ads and things like that when it's used. And that just gives candidates more information to decide whether to apply or not. Um, and yeah, like I said, being used to pre-screen resumes, send automated updates, um, and like interacting with those chatbots during those initial
Mm-hmm.
stages of the
Mm-hmm.
hiring process. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that kind of circled back to again the value of Devant that brings to the users. If you're using our platform, if you're planning to explore further on what we offer, at Devant, our career development platform itself is AI built in, helping you to build your resume or receive feedback on your resume that can help you to pass through initial applicant tracking system criteria that a lot of employers they put on so that you will have higher chance when you're applying for jobs that your resume will be passing through the filtering process. But again, it's a good news to see that like it's not fully integrated by the recruiters, but you never know with the current growth of AI technology. So the more up to date you are, the better prepared you will be. So
Yes.
next question, yeah,
Oh, I was
one
gonna
more
say,
question.
and it honestly excites me because there are so many opportunities. Like, I mean, the government is a huge organization, generally moves at a slower pace than like a small startup, right? And so even like education systems or sometimes these really large organizations take time to adopt new tools. And that is where we come in, us eager beavers with that are like
Mhm,
trying to get in with these different AI tools. Like that's where we can come in and add
mhm,
different tools to our individual teams. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, we're revolutionizing the whole all of Loblaws or like it doesn't have to be that big. It can just simply be like, oh, now we have a system for infographics. Now we have a system for emails on my team because and you were the one to bring that in. So there's a lot of like groundbreaking little things that you can do to really make your team more efficient. And that
mhm.
is just really what I would emphasize on your resume.
That's very very good tip. And if you don't have those experiences, maybe train yourself, and you can position yourself that I am equipped with these tools can help to improve efficiencies in, let's say, communications, in database management, etc. However you want to position your role in the application process. The next question we prepare for you, Emma, is to see what can audience, the candidates do in their resume, in their LinkedIn profile to really communicate clearly with both AI, the filtering process, and also with the actual recruiters, the human elements.
Same as whether it's a human being reading this resume for both of these, right? Like, doesn't
Yeah.
matter who it is. Keywords on your resume mirror the job posting. And I see in the chat as well, like, what are the criteria? You know the criteria. You got to match it to the job posting. It's the basic. It's as basic as that. And using those results based accomplishment statements for each statement of your job, it is tedious to go and match the resume to your job description. It's the way that it is. That recruiters read your resume for 7 seconds, okay, on average, sometimes less,
Brutal.
right? So you got 7 seconds. If you're using different, like you gotta write your resume in the same language that's of the job posting. Like if they're using, trying to think of uh like a particular like a different CRM. If they're specifying Salesforce, you specify Salesforce. If they're just saying a general CRM, keep the language the same. They're scanning. The recruiters are
Mhm,
scanning for that, and so are the AI, the applicant
mhm,
tracking system. So I would still say
mhm.
stick with that. Yeah. I don't know if you have anything
That's
to
the
add to it.
basic.
That the basics, I
Yeah,
won't
and
deter from it.
perhaps also like optimize your LinkedIn profile according to not the specific job that you're applying to, but the industry, and maybe do some industry trend research to see what exactly in that field that being mostly talked about. And you can like optimize your profile on LinkedIn, maybe the about sections or your past experiences, put some of the
Mhm.
keywords in that industry, position yourself that you are aware of the trend that is happening, if whether it's in tech or whether it's in database or whether it's in finance industry. Just put those information and brand yourself as if that you are aware of what's happening in that field. And
And
another, yeah,
oh, sorry.
please
And
go ahead.
and it like
Yeah,
kind of goes with one of the other questions being asked is
yeah.
like the different how you can check to make sure is there's I think Devant has, yeah, like the resume screening tool that Devant has, it
Mm-hmm,
checks the same things that the ATS checks.
mm-hmm,
But there's plenty of websites online like JobScan, or there's one called
mm-hmm,
Sensor, that also do the same similar checks for free, where you and it tells you like you're missing these five hard skills, you're missing these five soft skills, like you didn't mention these skills, um, or this industry or this field. So I'd say those ones are the most important.
mm-hmm.
Like just to double check what you're writing is going to match.
Yeah, and one more thing I want to mention when the recruiters are like, I have received like a few, like I've been recruiting a few times as well in my career. And once I finalized like last 10 or 15 resumes, and I would definitely look into their LinkedIn profile. So let's say you have passed through the process, initial filtering process, you are in the smaller pool, that's where your LinkedIn profile really shines through as well. And
Mm-hmm.
like I personally pay attention to LinkedIn. And I've seen a lot of my colleagues and the people in the similar positions when they're recruiting, they would also see, oh, if this person has a LinkedIn profile or no, and a lot of details go into that considerations. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I think I think we're not the only ones. Like I've applied to jobs and then I get a notification like this person checked out your LinkedIn profile. I'm like, oh, they're someone's
They're
looking.
reviewing me, and you can also get some insight. You're like, okay, well, this company, this person I applied to, they're actually looking to my application. That gives you some insight, like you're being reviewed, and you may receive an email sometime soon,
Absolutely,
right?
exactly. Yeah, I know I've had
Yeah.
that happen twice. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
The rumors are true. Yep.
Yes. The next question is, if a job posting mention AI tools in the hiring process, what questions that you could ask recruiters, whether maybe you would want to do a quick informational interview just for networking, or you're actually in the interview process?
I think you can be pretty honest and just
Uh-huh.
simply ask like how is AI being used in the screening process and in the hiring
Yeah.
process. Um, I think that's fair to ask as a candidate. I don't think that's like an offensive thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's a recruiter who's sending you to a hiring manager, I think that's a great person to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is there anything specific or different I could do to highlight my resume or profile to be fairly considered? I think you should be asking in general. If you
Mm-hmm.
have a chance to chat with the recruiter before getting
Mm-hmm.
passed to the hiring manager,
Mm-hmm.
I would always ask that question of, is there anything specific I can do to
Yeah.
highlight my
Yeah.
resume? I'm gonna put those ones in the chat because I think they're super important. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for those insight. I agree with all of them, and I always promote, if don't and any sort of like interview or chance to talk to recruiters or employers without asking a few follow-up questions. That shows that you're engaging and you're interested into the positions or the company and what they're doing in general. And that's overall that we have prepared for today's webinar questions covering two major aspects. We're finally having some time to go into Q&A. I'm going to look into our Q&A pool to see, oh, let me just go. Okay. So, Emma, maybe you can help me to also select the questions. It's my first time looking at all the Q&A that I'm
Me
seeing in the
too. Me
in the
too. Yeah.
function. All right. So one person asked, if we're applying for a company, got rejected, and the company will put the resume in blacklist for 2 years. Is it because of the ATS feedback, or it is actually a general practice by the company? Like, if you got rejected, you'll be blacklisted for that many years.
Um, I don't know if that's true. Do you
Mm-hmm.
know if that I've never heard of being blacklisted before.
No.
I was always um no, I don't think you're blacklisted. Like I've applied to the same company 10
Mm-hmm.
times. It just shows eagerness that you want to work for that organization.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of that before. So
Yeah, I don't heard of this is my first time knowing that. So I think that sort of a myth or worry can be put behind your mind and just go ahead and apply for the job that you want to apply, reapply for the company. Because I know some people who have applied for the same company for 5 different positions
I,
as well. Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Um, so one person asked, will the recording be shared later on? Yes, we will. We'll give you access to our YouTube channel. That's where you're able to see our recording of our webinar. And next question is, are keywords screened by ATS solely based on job description skill requirements or something else?
So I do focus on the requirements and responsibilities section. Those are my main focus, and I've been successful in that. But I would
Mm-hmm.
say if you're changing fields, like you're
Mm-hmm.
going from retail to health or something like that, or going from like tech to social services, I don't know, something like that, you're pivoting of some sort, then I
Mm-hmm.
would emphasize more of the industry, which you can take their about the company section and add some of those words into your resume. And that's purely like because you're pivoting or because maybe it's not so obvious how this job you're applying for is in line with your previous role, you want to make it clear to them why you're a good fit, like, and this could be a next step for you and you'd be an asset. So I would say in those types of scenarios, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't hurt if the only reason why I would say focus more on responsibilities and requirements is because you don't have all the space to also then add the about the company. So I would say, like, if anything, the field if you can. But I know space is
Oh, big
yes,
limitations that you have, right?
exactly. Yeah.
One person asked, if you do not have the prior experience to answer the questions that being asked during the recruiting process, but you are someone who can show the motivation to learn quickly. What would the positions be better, like to navigate this? You don't have experiences, but you're someone who's eager to learn, how you can make it not your shortcoming, but more of your advantage.
Yeah, I that happens, right? Like you're applying
Yeah.
for a new job, it's there's going to be areas you're not familiar with. They know that you
Mhm.
don't necessarily have all the experience, but you are willing to learn. So I would say never position yourself in a negative. Don't ever start with, "Oh, I've never done that before," or "I don't have any experience in that." You want to start in a confident position of your strengths. So you could say, like, while I haven't, okay, I don't know if I don't think this contradicts what I just said, but you could say, like, while I haven't utilized that particular tool in the past, here's the tool I have used,
Mhm.
or here's the skill that you're looking for that I have used, and
Mhm.
share a story about
Mhm.
how you learned about that tool, or how you took on that skill in your previous company. Um,
Mhm.
if you have nothing of the sort and it's totally out of pocket, then I would
Mhm.
still share a story about how you took initiative
Mhm.
at your previous company to learn something, how
Mm.
you didn't know something in a different time of your life and then you learned it. So that is what I would say is, like, that's a
Mhm.
perfect time to tell a story and to share an
Mhm.
example.
Great. Thank you for the insight that followed the next question, which I believe it's something that being shared a lot by career coaches, to use STAR method online in your resume. Do you have any insight in terms of, is it okay to use STAR method? Um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Pro
right?
star. Yeah.
Yeah.
If for anything else, it organizes your answers
Mm.
because you'll talk for too long. You'll talk for a long time, or people don't talk for enough time, or they forget the results, they forget the point
Mhm.
of their story. Star all the way. It organizes your
Mhm.
answer. It keeps
Mhm.
it clean. The employer is getting exactly what they want, so everyone was on the same page. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So, but for the audience, I am going through the questions. We are trying to cover as many as we can. We'll cover the questions that can apply to majority of the audience. If it's specific questions, you can send us an email at info@devant.ca. We'll try to support you answer your questions afterwards. One question that I believe for a lot of audience who are newcomers or international students that you probably face at Humber College as well, how to overcome the fear of from the recruiter's bias against newcomers to Canada. Like that's something that I felt like it's such a big um sort of emotions for a lot of internationals. I had it before too, and it was quite difficult for me to overcome that as well. Let's hear from your insight.
I'd love to hear from your insight. Like, if you kind of had that, like, do you want to share
Yes.
first? Yeah.
So, for the audience, I was international students myself when I first came to Canada, and I wasn't so sure if I'm going to network with people. Like, I see I don't have experience in Canada. Would that be a problem? The way that I've chosen to overcome it is put my school project as my experience,
Hmm.
and again shift my mindset of like, let's hold on a second. I am actually finishing a course, a program. I am learning from a professionals. I have academic credentials that back me up. So why not in those group projects that I have done in the class, I turn it into as in my resume, I have a past relevant professional experience or relevant professional projects. I put them into case studies and build my portfolio. That is one aspect that has given me the confidence. A second is really like repackage my past experience outside Canada because I've also worked previously as well, and put them into my resume and put them into my LinkedIn profile. And it's really, you have to believe in yourself that what I bring from my past experience, especially my transferable skills. Yeah, I do not have the knowledge of the industry in Canada, but doesn't mean my problem solving skills, my communication skills,
Mm.
and the language skills are not transferable. I can still apply to different scenario in the company that can be used for project management relevant work, or for communication or customer relevant work, or analysis work, that all can be utilized. And that's where I'm able to overcome my fear.
Uh, what a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I would say the same thing. You can't
Yeah.
explain how the company in a different country relates to a company here. Like in a
Mm,
resume, it's hard to do that. Showing them through projects, or if you have a website that shows your
mhm,
projects, or if you wrote articles or you were featured in an article, like pasting those. I have an article that I was featured in for something on my resume,
mhm.
like I link it. So you could go and see, if you see my resume. So I think there's no harm in doing that. And I think like LinkedIn is a great way for you to
Mm,
emphasize some of those. But
mhm,
projects, right? You have to, if you can't explain it, to show it. But I'd say
mhm,
overcoming bias is something like we're working on, and from the
mhm,
inside, like how to explain to
mhm,
employers the asset of people from diverse backgrounds bring to the table. That's something that like
mhm.
people in industries are trying to fight up against as well, right? To
Yeah,
reduce that
yeah.
bias. So
We are able, given the time being, we also have a few more information we want to share. I'm going to combine two questions that I've seen on the chat into one. And if you're unable to answer the questions that the rest of the audience have, please send us an email at info@devant.ca. I'll put in the chat in a bit as well. But last question, Emma, is um, one person asked for someone who is new to the industry or looking for a career pivot, don't have prior experience, but entry level job in that industry still requires 2 to 3 years of experience. And how can you overcome it? And how do you really stand out when you have this kind of dilemma where entry level job looking for 2 to 3 years of experiences and you are someone who's transitioning in your career pivots?
so um I think a lot of what we said already, like I think the LinkedIn profile is huge. If
Mm-hmm.
I am hiring for an entry level role, I know that I'm going to get someone who does, like, I'm going to get applicants who don't have experience. I'm already looking for the transferable skills. It helps when the resume
Mm-hmm.
is clean, the formatting is clean. Have someone else read over your resume and make sure the font is all one font. And like
Mm-hmm.
the size is all the same and their bullet points are not all over the place. Like LinkedIn, make sure you have a nice photo, you have a nice background photo, it's filled in completely. There's a lot to be said about those professional pieces, like that they look good, to kind of on top of like the transferable skills that will be on your resume because you're already taking what's on the job description. So that's already covered. But I would say like clean up those loose ends. It does make a huge difference because recruiters know when they're like hiring for entry level, they're going to get people without experience. So how can you stand out? And those other like LinkedIn learnings or
Mm-hmm.
she codes or Salesforce, Google, whatever those free trainings are, like even if they're
Mm-hmm.
shorter, those certifications are so important to stand out, to show that you are trying to take initiative. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. For the time being, we're not able to answer all the questions, but in the chat, I've left our email, info@devant.ca. You can reach out to us. But of course, I would like to also invite everyone, if you're somebody who is recent graduates from any institutions in Canada and you're looking for support coming from Devant, please pick up your phone, scan the QR code. You can join our Alumni Advantage. We are here to support you with our platform, with our network, and also with our resources through our career coaches and of course our industry leaders network. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email us at info.devant.ca. I'm going to launch one last pool because I would like to know from the audience today, how many of you would like to be part of Alumni Advantage? If you have any interest, please kindly select yes, maybe no, depending how you feel, so that we're able to send you more additional information of how you can join Alumni Advantage. But if you're personally interested, right now you can also pick up your phone and scan the QR code to learn more. Great. Yeah, that comes to the end of our webinar exactly at 8 p.m. Thank you so much for all the insight Emma you have shared with us and audience. And of course, thank you for those who stick with us all the way till the end. Please connect us on LinkedIn, connect us through our network, and stay tuned to our website. You can also subscribe to our newsletters. We always share insight. We always host events on weekly basis, so you're able to see what is coming up next and connect with us through our communication channel. All right. Again, one last thing I want to mention is from my personal experience and the people that I work with. I want to mention it's very difficult in the current situations that we all are facing. Unemployment rate is extremely high, but we are here to support. Devant is not just a tool, it is also a support system helping you to build a community. We're here to help you to kickstart and build momentum where you are able to continue growth as a professional in the industry or professions that you want to pursue. All right, thank you so much, and we're looking forward to see everyone in our next webinar. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much for having me.
Thank you. All right.